Welcome to the channel, welcome to today's run through of all the latest Manchester United news and transfer updates, keeping you right up to date with everything. I'm Jamie. Before getting into it, smash a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and let's jump straight into it. So let's kick off with, let's keep going with the positivity bandwagon that's going on around United at the moment. Makes such a difference, doesn't it? Beating a main rival at the weekend, the feeling around the place is, really positive at the moment. And let's continue on that trend and start by revealing what Chris Wheeler has had to say in the Daily Mail is that Martinez is close to his return. So Lisandro Martinez is expected to join his first teammates in full training this week after making a more cautious return to action than originally planned. Martinez was due to be fully integrated into the first team squad last week as the remaining players reported back from international duty after scans gave his injured knee the all clear. As it turned out, the Argentine defender, who has been sidelined since early February with a ruptured ACL, was only partially involved with the rest of the group, but is set to step up his training this week and should make a return to first team action before the international break next month. That's a big boost for us as well. Getting Martinez back with his line-breaking passing is going to be so important for us going forward as well. Like I'm really optimistic about the link-up play between Martinez and specifically Cunha on that side, because I can just see now Martinez feeding the ball to Cunha, who can get hold of it, turn and run at players, being a weapon down that side, because I do think at the moment we're a little bit reliant on the right-hand side with Ahmed and Mbeumo's link-up, that if we can then become a force down the left through that partnership as well, I can see it working a treat. I can already envisage that happening. Martinez playing that sort of quick through ball through the line straight to Cunha, who can turn and run it defenders as well. I think that can be an asset for us going forward. So I'm massively excited to see Martinez come back. I just hope, touch wood, that he can stay injury free now, because he's been so unfortunate with the injuries that he's got, because they've all been like impact injuries, and I've seen them on the pitch because he's a warrior and he's a battler and he gets involved and gets stuck in. I think it'll be a massive boost for us as well. Some of you have been mentioning about Martinez in midfield as well. That might be an interesting shout to see whether that could work or not. Give us your thoughts and feelings on that, although I do think that his passing from the back is a weapon. I think it's an asset from there as well. But I wouldn't be against trying it. For those that have asked and mentioned it in previous comments, I wouldn't be against trying Martinez in midfield to see whether it would work or not, or whether he's capable of doing a job in there or not. Because until you see it, you just don't know. It's all ifs, buts, and maybes. I wouldn't be against trying it though. Just to see if that works. But I see him mainly as the left-sided centre-back position as well. And like I said, I can see a good link-up between him and Cunha as well. I'm buzzing to see that. So a bit of positivity there. Lisandro Martinez expected to be back in full training in the next few days, according to Chris Wheeler in the Mail. So that's exciting. But give us your thoughts and feelings on that in the comments below. Now let's go through a little bit of transfer news. So let's kick off with a follow-on from yesterday, which was from Sky Sports Germany, where they were suggesting linking United with a move for Stiller, saying that he would be available for around £43 million. This is coming from Florian Plettenberg, who is actually quite decent when it comes specifically to German transfers, saying that Manchester United are still monitoring Angelo Stiller, who is very open to a move next summer, and should his buyout clause, so he has this weird buyout clause, I think, in his contract where it's like they can buy his release clause. So he's got a relatively low release clause at the moment, but I think Stuttgart can buy him for like £2 million or something, or give him £2 million to renegotiate that buyout clause. They currently intend to demand more than €50 million for the 24-year-old midfielder, as per Sky Sports Germany, one to watch for the next summer transfer window. So Florian Plettenberg suggesting United are monitoring Stiller, who would be open to a move, but it would be a summer move as well, because he has cleared, I would imagine, World Cup aspirations, and that's going to be the problem this January, isn't it? Trying to find first team players that we want to bring in going forward that aren't going to want to sacrifice a potential World Cup squad space as well. So it's going to be really tricky to see whether we can do any deals in January or not. But yeah, Stiller, following on from yesterday, one to watch according to Florian Plettenberg. Now, he's not the only midfielder that we've been linked with. The Mirror are linking us again with a move for Elliot Anderson, but that shouldn't come as a surprise, because he is a name that's already on the list with Wharton and Baleba. So I think this is a little bit of regurgitation, to be fair, but it says Manchester United are ready to join the race to sign Elliot Anderson. Nottingham Forest midfielder Anderson has become a hot property after his stunning breakthrough into the England team. Manchester City and Chelsea have also been watching developments with the midfielder, who only turns 23 next month and is seen as one of English football's best prospects. That has also alerted United, who do want to rebuild their midfield as their next priority, and they have also looked at Brighton's Carlos Baleba and also Crystal Palace's England prospect Adam Wharton. But United are also big admirers of Anderson, who only made his England debut in September but has now won 4 senior caps and is seen as a strong possibility to start in next year's World Cup. So the Mirror linking us with a potential race or a battle, I suppose, with Manchester City and of course Chelsea. It wouldn't be a United transfer rumour without Chelsea being linked with a player as well. Yeah, I would take Anderson. I think for me, I think Anderson's the more rounded midfielder. When I look at his stats and his data and watched a few of his performances, mainly for England, I'm not going to lie, this season, I see him as a more of an all-action player that can do like a jack of all trade, that can get forward, that can dribble, that can pass. Like I see him as more of a like a number 8 type midfielder. I could see him partnering someone like Adam Wharton in midfield, though, or Angelo Stiller. That would be, I think, a good dynamic. But it's going to be interesting to see what we do, because obviously we know there's Casemiro's situation, which is up in the air at the moment, because there are rumours of him getting a new contract, which I'm going to run through in a bit. It was believed that Bruno Fernandes potentially had an agreement to go to the Saudi Pro League. That's been debunked now as not true, so we don't know whether Bruno's actually going to leave the club in the summer. So does that mean we need 1 or 2 midfielders? Would it be a replacement for Ugarte, who's not, exactly, ripping trees up at United at the moment? There's Kobe Mainoo situation as well. So actually, we could be in a position where we're thinking we need 2 midfielders to replace Bruno and to replace Casemiro, but we could need 2 midfielders to replace Mainoo and Ugarte. How mad would that be for a turn of events? And that's plausible, because, like I said, there are rumours that Casemiro might be getting a contract extension. There are now less rumours about Bruno going to the Saudi Pro League as well. And that then leaves the question marks around Ugarte and Mainoo, doesn't it? So could we be in that position next summer? Who knows? But the main takeaway with the main midfielders that we're linked with, we know them anyway. You don't need me to tell you. It's Baleba, Wharton, and Anderson, I would say, is the main 3. Stiller, I would possibly add to that list now as well. I think Hjulmand is another one that we are heavily linked with, but that could just be bullshit because of the Amorim Sporting links. But there's no smoke without fire, I suppose, with that. And then the 15 other midfielders that we've been linked with are maybe players that we're looking at, but not quite as intensely as we are those 3 of those 5, I would suggest. But that's just my feelings and interpretation on them, reading between the lines. But give us your thoughts and feelings on that in the comments below, as I am sure that you will. Now, Anderson and Stiller are not the only midfielders that we've been linked with. So Manchester United interested in signing Manu Kone in 2026. So Manu Kone is a long-term United target. However, he was always considered too raw for the Premier League, but having been impressive in Serie A, now United Focus understands that Kone could be an outside possibility next summer. This is as United are continuing to establish a midfield shortlist for 2026, with Angelo Stiller and Kone now considered. United Focus have been told by Graham Bailey that Kone is a real option, having come on leaps and bounds in recent seasons. So this is coming from Graham Bailey. Now, I will say straight away, Graham Bailey is somebody, he's hit and miss, somebody that we do need to take with a pinch of salt, but sometimes he's good at doing this, where he'll just say, look, people, this is a player that clubs are interested in, and whether the clubs follow through with that interest or not, I'm sure we're interested in lots of players. But yeah, we do need to take Graham Bailey with a pinch of salt, because I always think he is a little bit hit and miss. But however, he's saying that United are busy assessing and putting together their plans for 2026, and midfield is an area we know is somewhere they have major plans for. The club are actively working on this and are dismissing the notion of any shortlists ahead of next summer. Angelo Stiller and Manu Kone are 2 players that United are already well versed on. They like them both and are keeping close tabs on them. They are both huge talents, and are little doubts they would be good fits. Interestingly to note that Kone particularly is playing in a system very similar to one which Ruben Amorim deploys. One thing is these 2 players with these two players, neither of them are looking to move in January. They're both fully focused on making the World Cup finals next summer for their representative nations, and neither would be willing to risk that with a move in January window. But keep an eye on these two. Keep an eye on these two. Good chance both will be on the move in 2026. So Graham Bailey suggesting that along with Stiller, who we've just discussed, that Manu Kone could be a name on the list as well. In the report, though, it does say that Kone is the prototype modern defensive midfielder, capable on the ball and off it, which makes him perfect for the midfield requirements Amram has. Kone is excellent at picking up the ball in midfield and carrying it through the lines, which is something United have been lacking this season, and is a quality both Baleba and Anderson are excellent at. The Frenchman would likely cost less than £50 million at the very most, and therefore it is even possible he comes as the Ugarte replacement, while Anderson or Wharton could replace Casemiro. Now there's food for thought, isn't it? Because I do think Ugarte's situation is up in the air as well. That's what I was saying before about, we could be in a position where Casemiro stays, Bruno stays, but then when we move on, Ugarte and maybe Manu, if he's got aspirations to play football, although I would be dead against doing that personally. But Ugarte, is not cutting the mustard at the moment, is he? Let's be real. He's not exactly tearing things up, and there is a massive question mark over his fit for the Premier League and for the system for the team anyway. So could it be Kone as a replacement for Ugarte, and then one of the other names, Baleba, Wharton, Anderson, Stiller, take your pick of whoever else you want to choose in there as the Casemiro replacement if Casemiro goes? That would be an interesting shout to bring in. But give us your thoughts and feelings on Manu Kone. Good shout, bad shout? Let me know in the comments what you think regarding his potential, or the potential interest from United in him. Now let's move on to a player that I've just mentioned there, actually, in Bruno Fernandes. Now this has come from Christian Falk, who is very connected when it comes to Bayern Munich news, because there have been a few rumours over the last couple of days about Bayern Munich potentially being interested in Bruno Fernandes. However, this has been dismissed by Christian Falk, saying that Bayern Munich have been recently linked with a move for Manchester United attacking midfielder Bruno Fernandes for next summer. Fernandes moved to United in the January window of 2020 from Sporting and quickly became one of their key players, if not to the key player. Then he goes on to say, however, uncertainty still looms over his future, and recent reports suggest that eyeing a move for him, and United setting up a £70 million price tag. But then he does say the German champions are not particularly interested in signing Fernandes in the next window, as they have other priorities. So he says the arrival of Luis Diaz from Liverpool and Nicholas Jackson on loan from Chelsea in the summer window was added tremendous depth in their squad, and they will only get better with Yamal when Musiala returns to full fitness. And Bayern have high hopes for Musiala, who primarily operates in the number 10 role, and they have other options in that department. So Christian Falk suggesting that the rumours of Bayern Munich being interested in Fernandes are wide of the mark because they have other attacking options, and Musiala is going to be coming back from injury as well, and they don't want to buy a player for his position to stump his growth because they see him as actually, and rightly so, he's a top player, isn't he, Musiala? So yeah, according to Christian Falk is well connected with specifically Bayern Munich transfers as well. He's the sort of source that you would listen to regarding Bayern Munich transfers. So suggesting that, yeah, not on their list of transfers is our Bruno Fernandes. But give us your thoughts and feelings on that in the comments below. Now let's go through a little bit around. Let's go through this story actually next regarding contract situations and Harry Maguire and Casemiro as well. So Man United make pecking order clear as two top stars scrap over new contracts. God, they always have to dramatise things, don't they? Now, this comes from Dean Jones. Dean Jones is someone who I find fairly decent when it comes to United news, saying that Manchester United are focused on the contract extensions for Anfield hero Harry Maguire before moving on to a discussion on Casemiro's situation. The Reds have already opened initial talks over Maguire's next deal before he scored the dramatic late winner at Anfield on Sunday. Man United are keen to keep a strong core of leadership within the squad as part of the next phase of their rebuild, and the likes of both Maguire and Casemiro are interested. It does go on to say, though, however, sources indicate there has always been a greater likelihood of Maguire staying, and the plan is to resolve his situation first. It says Casemiro's case is more open as the squad's highest earner. The contract poses a significant financial consideration, and an exit for the 33-year-old is possible at this stage. His growing importance under Amorim this term has slightly altered the picture, though. Sources say no discussions have yet taken place regarding his future, but it is on the agenda. An extension could still be possible, but only if the Brazilian is willing to accept a substantial wage reduction. So what Dean Jones is basically alluding to is the fact that, we are prioritizing maybe doing an extension or doing a new contract for Maguire. Obviously, there have been reports over the last couple of days as well suggesting that he would be happy to accept a pay cut in order to stay, depending on obviously how much that pay cut would be, and then do like a 1 or 2 year deal, short-term option for Harry Maguire, which some of you from the comments on previous videos and after his winner at Anfield as well, I think maybe would be more happy to do, consider as long as it's the right wage, I suppose, and it doesn't break the bank, because he's on a high wage at the moment, and to have a character like that around, it's not the worst idea. And I'm on the fence with Maguire. I can see the benefits of keeping him. I can see the benefits of moving him. So I've said before in a previous video, I'm at the stage now where Maguire just make a decision and do something. I don't really care either way whether he goes, in which case, well done. Thank you for your time and your late winners for some of the games that you've and obviously for that late Anfield winner as well will live long in the memory, because obviously we haven't won there for 10 years. Who knows the next time we're going to win away at Anfield? Could be another 10 years, in which case that's a moment that we will always look back on. But then also, if he stays, I can see the benefit in keeping Maguire with his attitude, and he is good around the place as well. The Casemiro one's a little bit iffy as well, because but he's the same in terms of his leadership and his attitude and everything like that as well. It's just the wage with him. He's our highest earner, I think, so that would have to be a significant pay cut for me to be interested in keeping Casemiro. But where do we draw the line, though? Because we do have to remove some players. I get that we're trying to build the dressing room and the culture and everything like that at the club is important, and having players that are, Casemiro is a serial winner, multiple Champions League winner, and is the ultimate professional from everything that you read into him and stuff. So I can see the benefit of that. But it's where do you draw the line between, you can't just keep everybody. We need to move on at some point in time. But yeah, we'll see how that plays out. And that goes back to what I was saying before around, are we going to be in a position where Bruno stays? Because we've just heard there, Bayern Munich not necessarily interested in Bruno. The Saudi links have gone a little bit dead since they've been debunked as well. And now we're potentially considering Casemiro with a 1-year extension. So are we now in a position where we're looking at actually Ugarte and Manu replacements? Who knows? Give us your thoughts on that, though, in the comments below. And the final story I'm going to run through for you is regarding Joshua Zirkzee. So this is coming from Fabrizio Romano. An update on Joshua Zirkzee's situation. So Joshua Zirkzee's future at Manchester United could be one to follow in the upcoming months ahead of the summer transfer window, because the forward has not been a big part of head coach Ruben Amorim's plans so far this season, and has been handed limited game time with the 2026 World Cup fast approaching. Zirkzee's desire is clear. He wants to play more as soon as possible as he looks to aid his chances of being selected in the Netherlands squad. But what's the real status of the situation now? So first of all, it's important to clarify that Zirkzee isn't creating any problems. He hasn't said anything to Amorim about any issues. He is working hard to get more game time and help the squad, while he is always being positive with his teammates and is a really appreciated figure in the dressing room. I mean, you could see that by his celebrations, couldn't you, after the Liverpool game? Even though he wasn't involved on the pitch, he was still getting in amongst the celebrations and stuff as well, which I actually liked. So he says, at the same time, his situation must be monitored because the striker is not playing much and he doesn't want to miss out on the opportunity to compete at a World Cup with the Netherlands. So what about January? At the moment, Zirkzee is focused on Manchester United and trying to get more space. He is training at his best, but if his situation doesn't change by December, then his story could be one to follow. And then he goes on to say that, as we revealed on Gimme Sport a few weeks ago, Serie A sides remain on red alert for Zirkzee ahead of 2026 because he was fantastic at Bologna in the past, and interest remains strong in Italy. West Ham have also made a call to be informed on the situation recently, but were given a clear answer. So West Ham again being linked, and it'll be a loan, I think, for Zirkzee if he doesn't get many minutes between now and January. Maybe that is one we need to keep an eye on. As well, because he's a good player. But where does he fit in the team, and whose place is he going to take in the team at the moment? Because we've got Mount doing well in the 10. Obviously, Cunha did really well at the weekend, and Bumo there. We've got Sesko to throw in the mix as well. You know, it's going to be interesting to see what happens regarding Zirkzee. But Romano saying that he's not kicking up any fusses or anything behind the scenes. Not even had a word with the club, but he needs the minutes because he wants to get in the World Cup squad. And I can understand that from his standpoint as well. But give us your thoughts and feelings on that in the comments below. Give us your thoughts on all the other topics discussed in today's video, because that's you all up to date with the latest news and transfer updates. Don't forget to smash a like on the video on your way out. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. See you in the next one.